Sziasztok! Egy újdonságot szeretnék bemutatni. Sziasztok! Tisztelettel köszöntelek benneteket innen a babóti sportlőtérről. Egy nagyon-nagyon speciális extra vendéggel a Troy gyár képviseletében, majd mindjárt be fog mutatkozni az úriember, olyan eszközöket hoztak el itt a Troy forgalmazói, amelyek számunkra is nagyon-nagyon érdekesek, és hát jövőben mutatóak. Úgyhogy szeretném bemutatni itt a kollégát. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Scott Willey. I am the law enforcement liaison for Troy Industries, and happy to be here. It's very
nice to hear.
Yes, absolutely. It's good to be here. Yeah.
So, could you a little bit introduce the company and what is the Troy exactly about?
Yes. So Troy Industries is a firearms manufacturer. We're located in Clarksville, Tennessee. We are not a parts assembler. There's a big difference. Yeah. So we're a firearms manufacturer. We started 20 years ago when Steve Troy was a state trooper in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And he decided to make accessories for law enforcement and for military. Mm-hmm. So 20 years ago, Steve was making our sights that we're known for in his basement during the day. And then at night, he was on the road as a police officer.
A smart guy.
Yeah, it was very cool. So cool story, 20 years later, now we're in 48 different countries, hundreds of law enforcement and militaries across the world use our parts, our accessories, as well as our firearms. Mm-hmm. So,
nice, thank you. And the next question, could you introduce a little bit the Troy rifles, mm-hmm. exactly, the PCCs, the 223, so the yes. AR-15 and AR-10 versions.
Yes. So we specialize in making the Armalite rifle, or the sporting rifle, some might call it. We make it in all kinds of calibers, whether it's 300 blackout, 5.56, 223, 7.62 or 308, 9mm. We've even made 6.5 Creedmoor at one point. So all kinds of different calibers for different missions. The one thing that you and your viewers should know about Troy Industries is that our purpose is to make rifles and accessories for duty use, mm-hmm. for militaries and for police. And so the quality that we put into the rifles and the accessories is designed for harsh conditions. It's designed for men and women who their lives depend on these weapons, mm-hmm. but then the civilian marketplace benefits from that because the same quality goes into their guns, just mm-hmm. like ours. So we make all kinds of very popular 9mm pistol caliber carbines and 5.56 rifles that are pretty well known in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Can we go in details?
Yes. So we brought several examples for you today. I can start with the 9mm. Basically, this one, and there's one more. So we brought 3 9mm here. So this is an example of kind of more of our modern listing that we have. This is called a Claymore brake. We've been making this for a very long time. It's an anti-concussion device that forces the concussion and the blast forward of the muzzle. There's also teeth on this. This was mostly made for law enforcement in a less lethal situation where if they had to push somebody off of them, that's why that exists. These are, of course, our flip-up sights that we're known for. The rail itself is actually our new rail. It's called the SOC-C Gen 2. The SOC-C Gen 1 was a very good selling and very reliable rail that we make. So this rail is texturized, and it also we have the patent on how this locks to a standard barrel nut. We actually have over 60 patents on the Armalite system, which is unique in the gun world. And one of those patents is how it locks up onto a standard barrel nut. So if you have viewers or customers that want to build their guns, it's very, very easy to use a standard mil-spec barrel nut for them.
We were speaking about you are selling just the parts
Yes.
Like handguards and grips and sights and so on.
Yes.
So it is the part of the business and a really strong part of your business.
Yes.
Could you mention about that? What kind of equipment or goods you can offer for a AR-15?
Yes, so basically anything that's compatible with M-LOK. We make accessories such as the angled foregrip here. Everything that we do, again, is for military and law enforcement, but it's also driven by training and real-world experience. So being able to C-clamp around the top of the rail, it just fits perfectly, that angled grip made out of 6061 aluminum. These are called squid grips. These are silicone inserts that are very, very good for heat dispersion, but they're also good for grip. And then if you have a flashlight with a cable, you can actually route the cables through that to keep it nice and tight on the rail. So little things like that. We have the patent on this. As far as like letting air escape from these holes on the M-LOK, other companies will, basically have something similar that covers those holes and it retains a lot of heat. This actually has the holes open, and it's a very easy upgrade to put on your weapon system. Going back to the charging handle, this is actually our gas diverting. It's called the Pneuma gas diverting charging handle. And we made this for two reasons. One, we wanted something that was very robust and ambidextrous, but we also wanted it in conjunction with our suppressors that we just started making kind of more. We've been making suppressors for about 20 years, but we just got into a brand new suppressor that I'm happy to talk to you about. But basically this diverts gas on the top as well as on the bottom, and it shoots that gas out away from the shooter's face. Things like this latch, you'll notice, is actually enhanced. It's about 3 or 4 times the size of a normal AR-15 mil-spec charging handle. We tried to make it soldier-proof or cop-proof. I kept telling them I was both. I was a soldier and a cop. It's impossible to make it cop-proof, so we will find a way to break it. But they've done their best to. The engineers have done their best to try to enhance this as much as they can. Things like this is unique. We were one of the first companies to really get into the PDW market. We did this because of several law enforcement agencies that were doing undercover operations or doing kind of surveillance type things from vehicles. They wanted a more compact weapon. So we actually were one of the first to make the PDW style stocks. This is a variant of our Tomahawk stock. This is the short, what we call the short Tomahawk. It's got a gap right here. The longer Tomahawk comes out to about right here. But basically, the weapon collapses into a very, very short package. And then to pull it out, you press the button here, and it comes straight out. So if you were to have a sling on the back of the weapon, you could basically press the button with your thumb without taking your hands off of the fire control system, and then pull against that sling, and it would come out. So.
And we're just laughing because it is actually this rifle is too short to the Hungarian law to get sport category.
Yes.
So, but very nice invention.
Yes, yes. So we make a wide variety of muzzle devices. One thing that's special that we make is our disconnectors inside of the trigger. So, for example, this is basically our A4. It is our flagship, what we would call our fighting rifle, our flagship 5.56 rifle. And one thing that we make differently is the disconnector inside of the trigger group is made out of S7 tool steel. And so that S7 tool steel is very, very hard. We gas phase nitrate it. So it's got a hard outer core or a hard outer part, and then it's got a supple inner core, so it's not going to snap. But we actually cut those on a wire EDM machine. So it costs us 5 times more to make that disconnector that way. But the reason we do that is because other AR-15 companies, even like your higher-end AR-15 companies that we all love and trust, they make theirs out of either stamped metal or they water jet it. But at Troy, again, we know that if the disconnector fails, the gun fails. If the gun fails, the officer or the soldier fails. So that's the whole purpose. Like, we're willing to spend the money on something like a disconnector to make sure that the gun goes bang every single time.
Nice. So we were talking about 2 to 3 very shortly.
Yep.
Back to the pistol calibers.
Yep.
You use Glock magazines, as far as I see.
Yes. So we use standard Glock magazines, Hungary 10 rounds that we had to play by those rules. So standard Glock magazines work in our pistol caliber carbines, and they. We found some variants from different Glock manufacturers. Some are a little bit thicker or whatever. So, but pretty much if you have a Glock, it'll fit in there, and you'll be able to run it fine. The purpose for that was just basically, we know that the majority of law enforcement in America are using Glock pistols, and so we wanted to make a pistol caliber carbine that was interchangeable with their sidearm. So that's the whole purpose for doing it in Glock magazines.
And actually, your PCCs, what kind of calibers you are making at the moment?
So as of right now, we are making them in 9mm only. We have made them in 300 blackout, which is obviously not a pistol caliber, but 9mm is what we primarily make them out of.
I see.
A couple other things that are unique that we put in basically every single firearm is things such as our two-piece. Let's see if I can get it out here. So we make a two-piece buffer that is pretty unique. And it does a very good job of mitigating recoil. So rather than having weights or ball bearings in there, it's actually two pieces. So we have the patent on this. So you've got the head and you've got the tail. So what happens is as the round goes off and the buffer goes back, the spring compresses in the buffer tube, this stays together. As it's about to go forward, what's going to happen is the spring will catch the head and pull the head out. It'll go forward, hit the bolt carrier group. Once the head hits the bolt carrier group, the tail will actually collapse and it will tamp the bolt carrier group shut. So it's a very unique design that we do in basically all of our rifles. This is the 9mm, so it's a heavier one. It's about an H3 weight, but we make it an H2, H3. And it is a very unique sensation when you're shooting. It's a very pleasant and gentle shooting sensation, especially when you use like, let's say the 14.5 inch. This is the Troy Patrol rifle in the 14.5 inch. When you add this buffer with a mid-length gas tube, it is a very mild shooting gun, very soft shooting gun. Yep.
Okay. The trigger. Could you speak about the trigger? Because previously we spent some sentences regarding this.
Yes. So the triggers are, and you really have to understand that our philosophy is to still provide a mil-spec weight trigger. We rarely deviate from that, simply because both myself and Steve Troy are police officers, and in America, when you have a light trigger, you subject your agency to liability if you inadvertently press that trigger because it's too light. So we are not necessarily in the business of making things that are flashy. We want to make things that work and that have been proven and reliable for the last 60 years that the AR platform has been in existence. So our triggers are mil-spec. The majority of our weapon systems will have the NP3 coated trigger as well as an NP3 coated hammer. I'll break it open here for a second so that you can see. But basically, and it's been really dirty. We've been on the range. So NP3 coated hammer as well as an NP3 coated trigger. And then you can see that the disconnector, you can't really see the side of it, but it's our disconnector. So the poundage on it is basically 5 to 8 pounds trigger pull. And this is something that, again, goes back to that duty and purpose-driven trigger that we want to make sure goes bang every single time, and is common to the majority of police officers and soldiers.
Regarding the operating system, let's say, what kind of operating system you use?
So it's a direct impingement, so gas-operated direct impingement system. We haven't deviated from that, and really I don't see a need to deviate from that. It's been the Eugene Stoner design for so long, and it's ran very, very well. We're actually seeing a lot of specialized units in the military go away from platforms like the Mark 18 and these piston-driven platforms and kind of go back to the direct impingement system. A lot of people, when I was on a SWAT team, I had a Barrett Rec 7 that was a piston gun. And it's not that they're inferior or whatever, but when you look at the benefits of the piston gun versus the DI gun, they're really not that much more as far as like the benefits go over the direct impingement. So when we shot suppressed on the SWAT team, it would get just as dirty.
I see.
So it wouldn't get as dirty when you're shooting unsuppressed on the bolt carrier group, but you still had to maintain the piston and the piston system pretty well. So
okay.
But
finally, can we speak about the 308 version?
Yes, yeah, and I'd also like to tell you about the suppressor too, if you got a minute.
Yes, at the end.
Okay, yeah. So we're actually very pleased to release our Mark 11. It's the Troy Mark 11, or sometimes we call this the TLR 11 on the website. Basically, that represents Troy Long Range or Troy Long Rifle. So the Mark 11 is patterned off of the U.S. Army's M110 with our enhancements in it. It's made out of billet lower, billet upper. We decided to outsource the trigger. This is kind of one of the exceptions that I was talking about from that mil spec. We outsourced the trigger to a LaRue trigger. So every customer that orders a Mark 11 is going to get the LaRue trigger in it. It comes with the gas diverting charging handle and ambidextrous safety. It comes with our offset sights. You can buy the Mark 11 in a package deal where you'll get a scope, a bipod, and then also a hard case with 2 magazines and one of our slings that we make there in the factory. So very, very precise rifle, chambered in 308 or 7.62 by 51. And we're very proud of this. This is one of the most accurate guns that we make in the factory. So it's definitely been something that we've been excited to release, and it was just released in November. But for being a 308, it's still pretty lightweight. It's not super heavy. You can still manage it. But yeah, we make a couple different variants of that. We make the Mark 12, which is chambered in 5.56, very similar platform, 18-inch barrel, just like the Mark 11 is an 18-inch barrel. And we've achieved very, very good results, easily capable of making shots out to 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 yards with that 18-inch barrel. And
you mentioned that it is offered in 6.5 Creedmoor.
Not this particular, not the Mark 11. We have made AR-10s. Yeah, we've made AR-10s in 6.5 Creedmoor. And we didn't get a lot of market push when we released those, so that's kind of dwindled for us. So maybe if the popularity goes back up, we'd be able to make that again for customers. And in 308, what is the common barrel length you sell? So we sell this one in 18 inches, and that's typically what the Mark 11 will go out as configured. We've also decided to create what we're calling the heavy patrol rifle, which is a 308 with a 14.5-inch barrel that you would use as a special purpose rifle in order to defeat barriers, shooting through barriers, shooting vehicle threats. We actually had an incident in the city where the factory is located, where there was someone who had stolen a dump truck and was trying to run people over at a festival, and the SWAT team was scrambling, trying to find a weapon system that they could prepare for that truck. Thankfully, the truck wrecked before they even got to the people, but it made everyone think, okay, what system does a patrol officer carry on them that is capable of defeating a vehicle-borne threat or something where you're going to have to punch through glass and doors and things like that? So that was kind of the purpose behind it. So other than that, we offer it in an 18-inch barrel, and that's pretty standard for us.
And if you offer anything for a normal customer, so not a police officer or not a military guy, what could be the set of the Troy set, the dream Troy set?
What do you mean by that?
I mean PCC 223 and 308 versions. What could be what could be okay for a sports shooter, because we spoke about in Hungary we can use only for shooting, so sports shooting. What could be your favorite, let's say?
So the 9mm is it is just a really good option for your pistol caliber carbine shooters that are looking for competition. So something like represented here, we partnered with MFT as well as Ergo for this stock. And then the Soxy rail is just really conducive for being a lightweight, very rugged rail. So for your sports shooters who are interested in the PCC game, when you shoot it today, you'll notice that the recoil is very gentle, very mild, because of our buffer system that's in it. But as far as my favorite is actually the 14.5. This is a A4 or Troy patrol rifle variant. Basically, it's a mid-length gas system, mil-spec forged upper and lower, and I personally have seen, I can't tell you who the name of the customer was, but it was a very large federal agency that tested our gun, and they were able to get half-inch groups at 100 yards with a 14.5.
Nice.
I also had another law enforcement agency that tested it, and they were able to get a quarter-inch group at 100 yards. And for a battle rifle, straight from the factory, that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. And last but not least, suppressors.
Suppressors, yes. So if I can, I'll move over here so I can show this. So this is the Troy Patrol Rifle. It's the 11.5-inch variant of the Troy Patrol Rifle. So the suppressor is actually patterned off of, if you're familiar with the OpSync or the Mark 12 suppressor. So it's an over-the-barrel suppressor, but it has several patents on it that make it unique to us. And basically, we're able to get a 6.5-inch stainless steel suppressor on the gun. It only adds 3.2 inches to the end of the barrel. Now, the unique thing about our suppressor is we have a patent in how the baffles are stacked up. There's no outer can. We were one of the first people to put no outer can on it. We weld the baffles directly together. But the unique thing about this suppressor is that during testing out of an 11.5-inch barrel with supersonic ammunition, we were able to achieve 27.8 dBs of sound reduction. No one else comes close to that in that same category with an 11.5-inch barrel. So to give you an understanding, I'm very, even though I was a soldier and a police officer, very, very protective of my hearing. I did a demo with several agencies in Texas for 11 days, and I didn't wear hearing protection at all unless someone else from another company was shooting on the range with me. So this is actually, this is a hearing safe 5.56 can, which is unheard of, well, not unheard of, but very difficult to do with a 5.56 can. So the way that we're able to get the 27.8 dBs, this is our muzzle brake, and basically what's happening is it's forcing gas to the back of this can here, and what happens when it hits the back of the can is the gas circulates in the back of the can, comes up to the front of the can, and it hits the baffle stack. The baffles are connected together. We called it shared baffle technology. And if you can imagine, my fingers are like holes that we've put in the baffles. We've offset those holes so that gas has to serpentine through those holes, and it finishes the expansion at the front of the can versus back of the shooter's face. So with this,
so
go ahead.
It is the same. So it is not a difference between commercial and military use versions. So it is the same.
Yes, it's the same. Absolutely. Yeah.
And the material is stainless steel.
Yes.
And what about the cleaning? It is.
Yeah. So cleaning is actually very simple because of the basic aerodynamics inside of this can. A lot of the cleaning is not necessary like you would from a can that you would have to take apart or whatever. So what we recommend from the factory is that if you have a solvent tank or an ultrasonic cleaner, or even if you just have a Tupperware bin that you can fill with solvent, let it sit in the solvent for a while, wash it out very good with water, spray it out with an air hose with some compressed air, and you should be good to go.
And how many shots after you have to clean it?
We recommend about once a year.
Once a year.
So once a year, you can clean it. So just drop it into some solvent, let it sit for a while, blow it out. I personally have shot. I have a demo gun that I've got around 12,000 rounds through with the suppressor. Haven't cleaned it once, and it keeps going. Basically, I just wipe it. I wipe down the gun, I oil it up, and then
you're like the Hungarian standard hunter, because they also don't like to.
Yeah, they don't like to clean their guns. Yeah, I do it just to see how far I can push it, but it's. So this can is very unique. The other thing that's unique about it, not only is it one of the quietest in the market, but it also reduces the gas that's blown back to the operator. If you've ever shot suppressed, you're used to just eating the gas the entire time. So with our design, it mitigates a lot of the gas that's going back to the shooter because it's forcing just basic aerodynamics, the gas towards the front of the can. What gas that isn't mitigated is actually very much mitigated by that gas diverting charging handle. So in the civilian marketplace, we also make this right-handed. We make a right-handed stem as well as a left-handed one too. So it's pretty cool. We've accounted for our wrong-handed shooters out there.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a nice presentation.
Absolutely.
And I'm waiting for
you can't wait to shoot it. Yeah.
Shooting. So thank you the introduction, and I hope you enjoyed the stay in Hungary, and thank you for coming here.
Absolutely.
And show us these very nice things.
Absolutely. Köszönöm
Thank
szépen.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Köszönöm szépen a figyelmeteket. Remélem, hogy hát így kicsit angolul majd megpróbálom utólag valahogy feliratozni ezeket a sorokat, illetve ezeket a gondolatokat, de remélem, hogy érdekes volt így is számotokra ez a bemutató. Várlak benneteket vissza a következő hasonló bemutatón is. Sziasztok!